Hi everyone, it's Dr. Lucien again, and this is the setup video for Lecture 14, which is powered industrial trucks, namely forklifts, and material handling. I kind of like starting out these videos, or these lecture videos, or summary videos, preview videos, with an accident to show you what can happen. So here's a forklift that just happened to contact a racking system in a warehouse, and it collapsed. So this would be a struck by incident. Whenever I walk through a warehouse, I always check the corners for damage. Sometimes they'll put up protective barriers, and those barriers will be chipped or knocked off their frame because this type of stuff happens. How would you like to be the shift manager for this? Explain to the boss. Yeah, you got to come in and see what's going on here. So that's one of the examples. All right, so let's get to the video. I'm sorry, the presentation. Again, I'm just setting up the previous lecture videos here. So I'm going to mainly talk about forklifts, but really, material handling all falls under 1910 subpart N. Last time we were looking at subpart D, now it's subpart N. We're going to really focus on 178, powered industrial trucks. There is an ANSI standard, B556.1. But I would also highly recommend that, and I provided a link for Walter. They used to be Wisconsin lift truck, I think, but now they go by Walter, and they are an excellent resource. This is who I contact if I have questions. I may contact Crown if that's the forklifts we're driving around, but Walter is very trusted experts. I know several of them. They're awesome. So if you have questions, I'd get this name and contact them. When it comes to forklifts, it's hard to limit what the actual incident could be. It could be considered transportation related, but these tend to be more roadway transportation, but it doesn't say. But it's usually a contact with object or equipment. But it's not in its totality. I was able to find just forklift accidents, non-fatal, under the National Safety Council injury data. And you can see, they've got the cases here and the number of days off. As far as fatalities, there are fatalities relating to forklift use, but they tend to be much fewer. So contact with object is probably what it would fall under, but again, it's not just forklifts here, but that's what it would fall under. Again, there isn't a forklift specific, but here's the struck by and here's the caught in. All of them kind of relate, but again, it's forklift accidents are sort of a subset under these. This doesn't actually represent these like the two previous lectures. Powered industrial trucks is, or was, at least during this time period, the 6th most frequently cited standard. And we'll look at those in a little bit too. Oh, here we are. So 176 material handling had over 200 inspections and citations for 1.5 million. The actual powered industrial truck, or this is really the forklift, which is 1910 178, it had lots. This is very high. 8 million in penalties. Keep that in mind, right? Overhead and gantry trains. We're not going to get into this. I'm going to try to limit it just to forklifts, manual material handling. But, again, there was over 100, so I'll provide it. And similarly with the use of slings. So I used to cover these things, but what I've done is I'm going to kind of just gloss over it. And we're really focused just on the forklifts. So whenever you have forklift, you have to do a pre-shift risk assessment. You always have to check the equipment. Make sure everything's working properly, the controls are all working properly. If not, you take it out of service until it does, because a malfunctioning forklift is going to cause an accident. I recommend that the checklist be electronic, whether it's on a phone or a tablet or something that can be uploaded to a cloud, because the paper version, it's too manual. There's too much going on. That's what I came into when I was at that part-time job. And one of my recommendations is we got to make this electronic. And we were working on it. We were working on a Crown system. That was our provider. Make sure that the worker knows when a load is secured, that it's secured when they pick it up, it's secured while they're moving it, and it's secured when they set it down. It's very important. And then there are various forms of training, observation, and retraining. And I highly recommend integrating technology because it can do multiple things. One is it can actually track unsafe behaviors. Two, it can actually give you It can give the operator instantaneous feedback that they're going too fast, that they're getting too close to objects, things like that. Maybe even the load is unstable, so they can actually correct it before something happens. And third, if they do bump something or hit something, that it automatically shuts off the machine and only a supervisor can reactivate it so that an investigation can be done before they go on. I like that. The OSHA website has a page, a safety health topics page that you can go through, but it's really about, there's a lot of training involved to be certified to operate a powered industrial truck or forklift. You see down here, no operations or riders under the age of 18. That's just a rule. And that there are certain things that are pretty standard for all use. Here's just an operational check or a visual check. Again, I recommend these be electronic. Here's a paper version of a checklist. Again, that's what they did, and it was really hard to keep up with. Though, I would read them once a week, and I would actually call Crown to come out and do repairs. I would also have Crown do some training. We actually were testing, we were using LP-powered forklifts. They tend to be able to handle more weight. They have more power to them versus the electric. But we did have some electrics, and we were piloting some walk-behind electrics because they can maneuver more in tight spaces. And it gives the operator a little bit more control over certain loads. And so the Crown people came in and we worked with them. They were very good to work with for the most part. It was difficult to get certain models of forklifts for on-site testing, but for the most part, I was satisfied. So, and they also have systems for real-time monitoring. All the data can be stored centrally and reported centrally, which I think is good. And like I had said, all these things, and for the most part, what are you trying to do? You're trying to protect people, the operators and people, the pedestrians, but you're trying to optimize material handling. That's really what it's about. That's where you're going to save the money. We're on the last page, and then I'm just going to show you a few web pages, and that is watch the old lecture. I do have a bunch of other videos for you to watch, in addition to the one that I just shown. It's optional, but I think it's good. Check out the links and the PDFs. Again, what I'm trying to get you to do is understand what and appreciate the hazards associated with forklifts and material handling, and how we can develop cost-effective solutions. So let's go back here. We're almost done here, ladies and gentlemen. So here's the National Safety Council information on forklift accidents. Here's the OSHA page, and if you want to see the standard, you can go to subpart N, but we're really focusing on 178. And what's interesting about 178, it talks about function. We've got some classes here. In the video, in the lecture video, I actually covered that kind of stuff. Safeguards, changing batteries. But if you get down to, I thought L was training. HHAKL, operator training. You have to be trained every 3 years. You have to be trained on site. You can't be trained somewhere else and say, hey, I'm certified. I can. No. You have to have records that you train them there before they even operate the forklift. And it's not just a written test on how to do it. They have to actually do an operation. They have to demonstrate that they know how to use the equipment before they can be certified and released. And you can have in-house trainers, and you can send out workers like supervisors to be trained the trainer. That's what we did. Here's Crown. I definitely recommend if you're using Crown equipment, you bring them in. You can click on this if you want. And then there's the Walter group, which I really, really like, to be honest with you. So that's everything. All right. Thanks.